My wife's night shift was a hotel with my best friend. We investigated with his wife. What we found destroyed 2 marriages and started a new life. If you saw us from across the room that night, you'd think we were 4 people who had it all figured out. 2 best friends, 2 happy wives, laughing over wings and cheap beer. Funny thing is, that was the night I started to realize my whole life was built on a lie. My name's Mark, and back then I thought I understood what settled meant. I was 33, married to Emily, my college sweetheart. We had a little 3-bedroom house in the suburbs outside Denver, a golden retriever that shed on everything I owned, and a mortgage that made me get up on cold Mondays without complaining. I worked sales for a logistics company, the kind of job that sounds boring at parties but pays the bills. She was a nurse, always tired, always doing something for someone else. On paper, we were doing fine. And then there was Jake. Jake wasn't just my best friend. He was my guy. We grew up together, Little League, high school, all-nighters on Xbox, the whole story. I was best man at his wedding. He was best man at mine. I knew the sound of his laugh better than I knew my own. His wife, Lisa, fit right in with us from day one. The 4 of us did everything together. Football Sundays, camping trips, backyard barbecues where the guys grilled and the girls rolled their eyes and fixed everything we messed up. If you had asked me who I trusted most in the world, I'd probably have said Emily and Jake in the same breath. There wasn't one big moment where it all snapped. It was a bunch of little things, the kind you ignore because you don't want to be that guy, paranoid, insecure, jealous for no reason. It started with the jokes. You know, Lisa said one night, nudging me with her elbow while we sat on their couch, if I didn't love Jake, I'd steal Emily from you. You 2 are always texting. Emily laughed too hard at that. So did Jake. I remember thinking, what texts? I knew they messaged in a group chat about game nights and groceries and random memes. But the way they exchanged that quick look, I felt something in my stomach twist. I told myself I was tired. Long week, nothing more. Then there were the late shifts. Emily's a nurse, so late nights aren't unusual. 12-hour shifts, doubles, picking up overtime. I used to send her little hang-in-there texts around midnight, and she'd usually respond with a sleepy emoji or a picture of some terrible hospital coffee. But then the responses stopped. Crazy busy, she'd say when she got home, dropping her bag by the door. Didn't even have time to check my phone. I believed her. Of course I did. That's what you do when you love somebody. You believe the story that hurts less. Jake started getting busy too. He used to answer my calls almost every time. Would talk about the Broncos, work, dumb stuff. Then suddenly, I'd call, and it would ring, and I'd get a text 20 minutes later. With Lisa, call later. Except I'd talk to Lisa the next day, and she'd say Jake was stuck late at the shop. Little cracks, here and there. One Friday, Emily told me she was switching to nights for a while. Short-staffed, she said, kissing me on the cheek. Don't wait up. Same day, Jake texted me. Bro, starting early shifts for a bit. Gotta be up at 4 a.m. Can't do late-night Xbox for a while. I'm dying already. It sounded reasonable. Everything did, if you didn't look too close. The thing that finally got my attention was stupid, honestly. It was a smell. I went to grab Emily's car keys from her purse one afternoon. She was in the shower, getting ready for another night shift. I dug around, and this cologne hit me. Strong, expensive, definitely not mine. For a second I thought maybe it was from a patient, or a coworker, or something that rubbed off at the hospital. Then I saw it. A folded receipt from a bar across town. 2 drinks, an appetizer. Time stamped 11:47 p.m. On a night she was supposedly running trauma cases. I just stood there at the kitchen counter, holding that flimsy little slip of paper like it weighed 1,000 pounds. The shower was still running upstairs. Our dog, Cooper, patted over and nudged my hand, sensing something was off. I didn't blow up. I didn't storm upstairs and kick in the bathroom door. Instead, I slid the receipt back exactly where I'd found it, next to her lip balm and her work ID badge, and closed the purse. I wish I could say it was because I was calm and wise. Truth is, I was scared. Scared that if I pushed, the whole story I'd been telling myself would fall apart. That night, I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened her phone while she slept next to me, breathing slow and even, like nothing in the world was wrong. The lock screen code wasn't hard to guess. Anniversary date. I wish it had been something else. And there it was. Not a smoking gun at first, Just a text from Jay. Jokes, memes, little comments about work. Then as I scrolled back, my chest got tight. It wasn't Jay. It was Jake. Full name in the contact, right there. And the messages changed. Flirty. Personal. Late night I can't sleep. Are you up? Messages. Stuff about how he doesn't get me like you do. Stuff about me. I don't know how long I sat there in the glow of that screen, reading my own life unravel line by line. My hands were shaking so hard, I almost dropped the phone on her. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I quietly slipped out of bed, walked downstairs, and sat at the kitchen table until sunrise, staring at nothing. At some point, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was from Lisa. Hey, are you up? Can we talk sometime this weekend? Something's been really off with Jake lately. My thumb hovered over the screen. For the first time since I was a kid, I actually felt dizzy. Right there, with the sky just starting to lighten outside our kitchen window, I knew two things. My wife was cheating on me with my best friend. And Lisa, his wife, had no idea yet. I stared at her message for a long time, then finally typed back, yeah, we need to talk. And that's where everything really began. I met Lisa the next afternoon at a coffee shop halfway between our neighborhoods. One of those places with Edison bulbs and chalkboard menus and people typing like they're writing the next great American novel. She was already there when I walked in, sitting by the window with her hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, like she'd gotten ready in a hurry and stopped halfway through. When she looked up and saw me, her face did this strange thing, relief and dread all at once. Hey, I said, my voice rougher than I expected. Hey, she answered, and I could tell she hadn't slept much either. I sat down across from her. For a second, neither of us said anything. The barista called someone's name, cups clinked, a kid laughed somewhere behind us. It all felt weirdly distant, like we were sitting underwater. You first or me? She finally asked. I took a breath. You texted me, I said. What's going on with Jake? She gave this quiet, humorless laugh. I was kind of hoping I was just being paranoid, she said. But if you replied with we need to talk, then I'm guessing I'm not. I felt my throat tighten. I didn't know how to say it without breaking something. Lisa, I started, I think Emily and Jake something's going on there. Her eyes flashed up to mine. For a moment she just stared at me, searching my face like she was trying to figure out if I was playing some kind of cruel joke. Why do you say that? She asked. I pulled my phone out of my pocket. I'd taken pictures of the messages from Emily's phone that morning, hands shaking as I scrolled and snapped and tried not to throw up. I saw this last night, I said. On Emily's phone. I placed my phone on the table and slid it toward her. Lisa hesitated, like touching it would make it real. Then she picked it up and started scrolling. I watched her face change, millimeter by millimeter. First confusion, then shock, then something like nausea. Oh my God, she whispered. There were a few lines on that screen that I'll probably remember forever. Little things. A joke about how at least we understand each other. A message from Jake saying, wish I were there instead of him. A heart emoji from Emily at 1 a.m. Lisa's hand flew to her mouth. She set the phone down like it burned. How long? She asked. I swallowed. The texts go back a few months, I said. Could be longer. I don't know. She leaned back in her chair and stared out the window, eyes shining. Cars went by. A guy on a bike rode past with a pizza strapped to the back. The world just kept moving. I knew something was off, she said quietly. He's been distant, guarded with his phone. He started showering as soon as he got home, like he had to wash the day off him. I thought he was just stressed. I nodded. Emily's been picking up extra shifts for weeks, I said. Except I found a bar receipt in her purse from one of those nights. And that cologne? That's not mine. We sat in silence for a few seconds that felt like hours. So, she said slowly, your wife and my husband are together? The word hung there, thick and ugly. Looks like it, I said. She pressed the heels of her hands into her eyes. How is this my life right now? She whispered. Something inside me cracked at that. Not anger, not yet. Just a heavy, shared sadness. This wasn't just happening to me. It was happening to her too. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it more than I'd meant anything in a long time. She shook her head. You didn't do this, she said. They did. We stayed like that, quiet for a while. People around us laughed, took calls, checked their watches. The world didn't pause for the moment everything broke. What are you going to do? She asked eventually. I don't know, I admitted. Last night, I wanted to wake her up and demand answers. But then I thought if she lies, and I don't have everything, I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if I imagined it. Lisa nodded slowly. So you want proof? I guess I do, I said. Something I can't gaslight myself out of later. I don't want there to be any maybe in this. She sighed. I checked Jake's phone last week, she said softly. He caught me. Turned it into this big thing about trust. I backed off. I felt so guilty. Her voice cracked on that last word. Lisa, I said, leaning forward a little, they're the ones who broke trust. Not you. She let out a long breath. Okay, she said. So what now? We just wait. Keep pretending everything's normal while they sneak around? The thought of that made my skin crawl. Sitting across from Jake at game night, knowing. Lying next to Emily, knowing. Smiling in photos, knowing. I don't think I can pretend for long, I said. But rushing in half-blind doesn't help either. She looked at me, something sharper settling in behind her eyes. Not just hurt now, focus. What if, she said carefully, we stop letting them write the script? I frowned. What do you mean? I mean, she said, they're sneaking around, lying to both of us. We keep reacting, getting blindsided. What if we start preparing instead? I hadn't thought that far ahead yet. My brain had been stuck in this loop of how could they? How could they? You're talking about a plan, I said. Lisa nodded. Yeah, a plan. To know for sure. And then to make sure they can't just walk away from this like it's nothing. The word revenge didn't come out yet, but it was there, hanging between us like smoke. I sat back, staring at the wood grain of the table. My wedding ring caught the light. For the first time since I'd put it on, it felt like it didn't belong to me anymore. Okay, I said slowly. Then we get smart. I met her eyes. We find out the truth. All of it. No more guessing. She nodded, jaw set. And once we have it, she said quietly, we decide what to do with it. Right then and there, in that little coffee shop with scratched tables and burnt espresso smell, the two people they thought were the clueless ones made a silent agreement. We weren't going to be their victims. Not anymore. Lisa and I didn't meet in coffee shops after that. We met in parking lots. It felt safer, colder, more honest. 2 days after we talked, I sat in my truck outside a strip mall, watching rain on the windshield as Lisa slid into the passenger seat, hood up, eyes hard. I did it, she said. I put the tracking app on his phone. My stomach flipped. How? He fell asleep on the couch watching ESPN, she said. If I hesitated, I knew I'd chicken out. Took 2 minutes. You sure it's legal? I checked. The plan's in my name. Am allowed to know where my phones are. That was our line. Nothing illegal, nothing crazy. Just the truth, turned up loud. I pulled out my own phone. I started going through our bank statements, I said. Joint account, her card. You know how many extra shifts come with bar tabs and Uber rides? She gave a dry little laugh. Let me guess, same side of town? Pretty much. Sometimes the same bar. Sometimes a hotel. Her mouth fell open. You're kidding. I showed her the screenshot. Same mid-range hotel, 3 times in a month. All on nights, shed left in scrubs after kissing me goodbye. That word, hotel, hit like a punch. Lisa stared at the screen. Jake said he was at the shop those nights, she whispered. I brought him dinner once. He told me not to come again because it threw off his focus. We sat with that, both breathing a little harder. So now we know, I said. Texts, money, locations. But it's all just pieces. You want something they can't argue with, she said. Yeah. I want to look them in the eye and know they can't spin it. Know you're overreacting. Know it's not what it looks like. Am done being confused. She looked out at the rain, then back at me. Then we catch them, she said. For real. How? We watch the app. Next time his phone shows up at that hotel, we go. My heart hammered. Showing up. Walking down that hallway. Opening that door. You sure you can do that? I asked. No, she said. But I'm more sure I can't keep living like this. That landed. The limbo was worse than the truth. The next week was a slow, tight coil. At home, I played my part, kissing Emily good morning, listening to stories about codes and short staffing, hearing every lie like another stone between us. At night, when she went to work, I sat on the couch with Cooper and watched the little dot on Lisa's app move around the city. Twice he really was at the gym. Once at the shop. I didn't sleep well any of those nights. Then, on a Thursday, it happened. At 10:30 p.m., Lisa's name lit up my screen. He just left the house. Said he has a parts delivery. Mark, he's heading toward the hotel. My whole body went hot and cold. Emily had left an hour earlier in fresh scrubs. Hair up, quick kiss on my cheek. Love you, Shed said. I grabbed my keys. You ready? I texted. Am already in the car, she replied. I pulled out of the driveway, my ring clicking against the steering wheel, street lights sliding over the hood. My phone buzzed again. He's there. Parking lot. I drove faster. Right before a storm, the air feels wrong. Too still, too heavy. That's what it felt like pulling into that lot and seeing Lisa's car tucked in the corner, engine off, her silhouette staring at the entrance. I parked beside her. We got out at the same time, doors thudding shut together. You sure? I asked, even though it was too late for that. Her voice shook, but her eyes were steady. Let's finish this, she said. We turned toward the lobby and started walking. Walking into that lobby felt like stepping onto a stage I wanted no part of. It was bright and too warm, fake plants, muted sports on the TV. A couple in suits checked in at the front desk. I remember thinking, they have no idea what's about to blow up right behind them. Lisa's hand brushed mine as we walked. Not a grab, just a touch. Two people trying to stay upright. You talk, I talk, or both. She murmured. Let's see what we're walking into, I said. At the desk, the clerk barely looked up. Can I help you? Yeah, I said, hearing how tight my own voice sounded. My wife checked in a little while ago. Emily Carter. Am late and forgot the room number. He typed for a second. She's in 314. I felt Lisa stiffen beside me. I thanked him, and we headed to the elevators. No backing out now. The ride to the third floor was silent. My heart pounded in my ears as the numbers climbed. 23. The doors slid open onto a worn carpeted hallway. Soft music playing somewhere, an ice machine humming at the end. 314, Lisa whispered. We walked side by side. 308, 310, 312. The door looked like every other door. That made it worse. Lisa's face was pale, jaw clenched. You ready? I asked. No, she said. Do it anyway. I knocked. Nothing. For a second I thought maybe we were wrong. Maybe this was all some sick coincidence. Then Emily's voice floated through the door, laughing. Did you order room service already? Every hair on my arm stood up. The lock clicked. The handle turned. Jake opened the door in a t-shirt and shorts ID seen 100 times on my couch. Hair messed up, a half-formed smile on his face. Then he saw me. The color drained out of him. His eyes jumped to Lisa, then back to me. Mark, he stammered. What are you? Emily called from inside. Still light, still oblivious. Who is it, babe? Babe. Something in my chest split clean open. Lisa shouldered past me, pushing the door wide. Why don't you show us, Jake? She said, voice shaking but loud. Show us who you're calling, babe. I followed her in. The room smelled like cheap perfume and takeout. The bed was a mess. Emily stood by the nightstand in my favorite hoodie, hair down mid-smile. She turned, expecting a joke or a delivery. When she saw me, everything in her face dropped. All four of us made some kind of sound at once. My choked breath, Lisa's sharp inhale, Emily's oh my god, Jake's useless, hang on, it's not. Don't, I snapped, louder than I meant. Don't you dare say it's not what it looks like. Emily's eyes filled instantly. She stepped toward me, hand out. Mark, I stepped back. That hurt her more than yelling ever could. Do you have any idea, I said, throat tight, what it felt like reading your messages last night while you slept next to me? Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. Lisa turned on Jake. You looked me in the eye this morning, she said. You kissed me goodbye and told me you were going to the shop. He reached for her. Lisa, please, let me explain, okay? It just happened. We didn't. She slapped his hand away. It didn't just happen. You booked a room. You planned this. You lied for months. He seemed smaller than I'd ever seen him. Mark, man, I'm so sorry, he said. I never meant. You never meant to get caught, I said. That's what you mean. Emily sobbed. It wasn't about you, Mark. I was lonely, and Jake understood, and you were always working, and I let out a broken laugh. So your solution was to sleep with my best friend? She flinched. Lisa's voice cut through the air. You could have left. Either of you. You could have said, this marriage isn't working. Instead, you turned us into fools. Nobody argued. For a moment, all you could hear was Emily's quiet crying and the AC humming. Hey Race, what's going to happen? I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I'm going home. You're not. Tomorrow you'll pack a bag and go stay with your sister. After that, we talked through lawyers. Emily shook her head, stepping closer. No, please, Mark, we can fix this. We can do counseling. It'll end it. I swear, You already ended it, I said. You just forgot to tell me. She covered her mouth, shoulders shaking. Jake tried again. Man, don't blow up your life over this. We messed up. Okay, but we? I repeated. There is no we anymore. Beside me, Lisa twisted her wedding ring once, twice, then slid it off. She looked at it for a second, then set it on the little table by the window, next to an empty wine glass. This belongs to the man I thought you were, she said quietly. I don't know that man. Jake stepped toward her. Lisa, she turned away like he wasn't even there. Let's go, Mark, she said. We've seen enough. She was right. Anything more was just pain for its own sake. I took one last look at Emily, my wife, the woman I'd loved for 10 years, standing in a hotel room with my best friend, wrapped in my hoodie like it still meant something. I hope it was worth it, I said. Then I turned and walked out. The hallway felt twice as long going back. Lisa walked beside me, tears tracking down her face, eyes forward. My own eyes burned, but nothing fell. Not yet. We stayed silent through the elevator ride, through the lobby, all the way to the parking lot. Only when we reached our cars did she finally speak. So, she rasped, wiping her sleeve across her cheeks. What now? I glanced back at the hotel, at the third-floor windows. Now, I said, they think this is the worst night of their lives. I met her eyes. They have no idea what's coming. The night we caught them, I didn't go straight home. Lisa and I sat in that hotel parking lot with the engines off, doors open, cool air hitting us like we were coming up from underwater. You okay to drive? I asked. She gave a short, broken laugh. No, but I'm going to anyway. She started to turn away, then stopped. We can't let them control the story, she said. They're probably up there already deciding what to tell us, what to tell everyone. I could picture it. The excuses, the we were unhappy, the it just happened, all twisted into something where we were to blame. What do you want to do? I asked. She wiped her eyes and straightened. We tell the truth, she said, to everyone who matters. Tonight. So we did. I drove home to an empty house. Cooper met me at the door like nothing had changed. I buried my face in his fur and finally let myself break. When I could breathe again, I sat at the kitchen table, opened my laptop, and gathered everything, screenshots, bank records, hotel charges. I saved it all. Then Lisa called. You ready? She asked. Yeah. We'd written the message together so there'd be no twisting later. I opened the group chat with me, Emily, Jake, Lisa, and both our families. It used to be for birthdays and football Sundays. Now it was for this. For those of you who love us and care about our marriages, we need you to see this. Tonight, Lisa and I caught Jake and Emily together at the hotel name. This has been going on for months. We have proof. We're not looking for advice or debate. We just won't carry their lies for them anymore. We attached the screenshots, the receipt, the photo of the hotel door. My send, your send, Lisa said softly. 3, 2, 1. I hit send. For a second, nothing. Then my phone blew up. Emily. Mark, please don't do this. Please call me Jake. Dude, this isn't fair. We need to talk first, her sister. What is going on? My mom. Call me. Now. Lisa's dad. Tell me you're joking. I turned the phone face down. For the first time all week, I felt something besides numbness. Not joy. Not satisfaction. Relief. They didn't get to hide anymore. The next week was a blur of lawyers and hard conversations. Emily tried everything. Crying, apologizing, bargaining. She came to the house twice. Both times I opened the door just enough to talk. Please, Mark, she sobbed on the porch, rain in her hair. We can fix this. They'll quit my job. They'll block his number. They'll do counseling, anything. Don't throw away 10 years. You threw it away, I said quietly. You just expected me to hold the bag. She sank onto the step. I hate myself for what I did. I said. I just don't know you anymore. After that, it was lawyers only. It was easier that way. When she moved out for good, I let her take most of the furniture. I didn't care about the stuff. I wanted my dog, my share, and my self-respect. Lisa moved fast too. She filed with everything we'd gathered. Jake tried to spin it with her family, but they'd seen the proof. She kept the house. He ended up in a small apartment. One afternoon at the courthouse, while the clerk made copies, Lisa and I stepped into the hallway. "How are you holding up?" I asked. She sighed. "I feel like Eve been in surgery without anesthesia," she said. "But every day hurts a little less." "Same," I said. She gave me a tired smile. "For what it's worth, I'm glad I didn't go through this alone." "Me too," I said. And I meant it. We didn't rebound into each other. People assume that. Truth is, we were too raw. We needed someone who understood, not someone to replace what we'd lost. Our revenge wasn't some big dramatic scene. It was simple. Tell the truth, refuse to cover for them, and then build lives that weren't about their choices. 3 months after the hotel, I finally felt like myself again. The house was quieter without Emily. My nights were mine, no more staring at the ceiling, wondering where she really was. I went back to the gym. I started saying yes to after-work invites instead of hiding at home. That's when I met Hannah. She was a friend of a coworker, filling a spare ticket to a Rockies game. She had this easy laugh and a way of listening that made you feel like you weren't just noise in the room. We talked more than we watched. I told her about the divorce straight up, no sugarcoating. I expected her to pull back. Instead, she said, "I'm sorry you went through that. It says a lot about your heart that you can talk about it without turning bitter." That stuck. We started texting, then grabbing coffee, then dinner. Coffee turned into hikes, Sundays, and long drives with no real destination. I hadn't planned on falling in love again. I was scared of it, but it happened anyway. About 1.5 years later, I stood in a different suit, at a different altar, looking at a different woman in white. This time, I knew exactly what I was promising. We bought a smaller house with a big yard. Cooper slowed down but stayed long enough to meet our son, a boy with Hannah's eyes and my stubborn streak. Then our daughter came along, fearless and wild. Some nights, when the kids are finally asleep and the dishwasher hums and Hannah's head is on my shoulder, I think about that hotel room. For people, 4 hearts cracking in different ways. I don't check up on Emily or Jake. I don't need to. But news travels. I heard they tried to make a go of it for a while, moved in together, fought about money, trust, everything they'd broken themselves. A year later, they split. I heard she tried again with someone else, and it fell apart too. Once, I ran into her at the grocery store. It felt like seeing a ghost. She gave me a small, nervous wave. I nodded. That was it. I didn't feel like I D1. I just felt free. People sometimes ask if I regret how Lisa and I handled it. Telling everyone. Exposing what happened. Here's my answer. We didn't ruin their lives. They made those choices. We just stopped hiding the consequences. Revenge wasn't watching them suffer. Life isn't that clean. The real revenge, if you can call it that, was refusing to let their betrayal define who we became. Lisa's doing well, by the way. She finished a certification she'd put off for years. Last I heard, she was seeing a guy who brings her coffee and fixes things without being asked. We swap Christmas cards. There's this quiet message in them. We made it out. As for me, I tuck my kids in. I kiss my wife good morning and good night. We argue about little stuff. Bills, dishes, weeknight ice cream. But we don't lie. We don't sneak. We're on the same team. If there's a moral here, it's this. You can't control what people do to you. You can love them as best you know how, and they might still break your heart. But you always get to choose what you do next. I chose the truth. I chose to walk away, instead of begging someone to stay who had already left. And in the end, I chose a life that feels honest when I close my eyes at night. It's not a movie ending. But sitting here with toys on the floor, a dog snoring at my feet, and a woman who shows up every day, I can tell you this. It's enough. More than enough.